This is Monday Morning Meditations number 258 on the Rising Man podcast with Jetty Azuma. Got to start to learn to leave your sword at the door. One of the wisdom tokens that I've taken away from my men's team is that an honorable man never engages in battle with a lesser opponent. Now, when we're talking about lesser opponents, we're talking about our partners, our wives, girlfriends, our parents, children. We don't engage in battle. We don't bring our full masculine energy and power to those interactions because the full force of the masculine is dangerous. It's violent. It's aggressive. It's part of who we are. And yet, how many times have you and I lost our temper with our kids, or blown up on our partners, or had a really heated exchange with our loved ones? This simple tenet, to be an honorable man, means to not engage in battle with a lesser opponent. It doesn't diminish the power and integrity of our partners or our children. It doesn't take away from them. The language around them being lesser simply means that these are not the relationships where we bring and unleash our full masculine power. That was a reason why we wash the war paint off when we go back home to the village. That warrior in us, that dangerous animal primal version of man, we need to be able to access and unlock that, but it has no business or place inside of our own home. And yet, how many of us bring that part of us home to our parents, to our children, to our partners, to our loved ones, the people who don't deserve to receive that energy? A lot of times that energy gets misplaced, misused, misrepresented in the home environment. This is when men become headlines, when a really good dude catches a domestic assault charge. That energy that we have, we need to get to know it. I'm such a huge advocate for men having a relationship with their anger, learning how to express that, having a space and resources to explore and experiment with that energy, but never at home. It's dishonorable. It's dishonorable to engage in battle with our loved ones this way. That energy, that's for the warrior society. That's what we bring out into the world. That's the energy that we tap into when it is life or death. And it should never be life or death at home, with our children, with our partners. Those are the people that we stand to protect, to serve, to provide for. Why would we bring our swords home? Why would we start swinging around our battle axes when we're disagreeing with our children? And I'll be the first one to raise my hand and admit that I've lost my temper, that I've brought that energy home and let it leak out of me in my family environment where I don't want it to go. This is where we as rising men get to be more responsible, more accountable to our own masculine power. But first, we got to get to know it. If you don't have a relationship with it, if you've never seen it before, then it's going to be just as shocking to you as it is to your children and your partner when it comes out at home. I'm not a big gun advocate, but I tell you what, I think it's really important for myself and others to know how to handle a gun if I ever had to. There's a saying that everybody knows that I carry a sword, but I never have to take it out. I must be able to handle, to manage, to be responsible for the energy that I possess inside of my own body. And if I'm afraid of it, how could I ever expect anyone else to feel safe or comfortable around it? How could I expect myself to handle that energy responsibly if I've never even brought it up to the surface before? Leave your sword at the door. Wash off the war paint before you go home. As husbands and fathers, we should bring the best, most loving, nurturing, and kind parts of ourselves to our family environments. And we're not going to be perfect, none of us are. But too many times I hear about men who bring this energy home and cause chaos and wreak havoc at home and get explosive with their temper and their anger and their energy. And we can do better than that. I'm not blaming you. I'm not judging you, because if I'm judging you, I would just be judging myself for doing the exact same thing. But reminding myself that there's no reason for me to engage in battle, to bring that warrior energy out in my home environment. It reminds me that I can just put that away. No matter how triggering my children are, no matter how triggering my partner can be, I can just leave my sword at the door. I can leave it in its sheath. I can keep my battle axe outside of the home because it has no place here at home. This should be a sanctuary, a place of safety, of refuge for my family, not a place for my family to feel less safe. So let this message land. And if it's triggering some of that shame because you've been that man before, then let that go. Acknowledge it and move beyond it. Be determined to practice and be better moving forward. There's no reason to feel ashamed of this because you are just like every other man. We are all human and we are all susceptible to bringing this energy out if we're not paying more attention to it. But also, be determined to leave that sword at the door, to wash off the war paint before you go home, so that your parents, your wife, and whoever we're talking about here, that they get the very best of you. And make sure you have a place to go and express that energy outside of the home, so that you don't become a headline, so that you don't become one of these men who was a really nice guy that just one day exploded and created havoc in his family. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you tune in next week for another Monday morning meditation. And in the meantime, rise up and claim your destiny.